Hello and welcome to 7 Days. Zack Yusof here with a quick recap of some of the more fascinating stories from the last week. At the top of the show, two powerful earthquakes hit southwestern Japan on Thursday and early Friday, bringing down buildings, evacuating thousands, killing at least 9 people and injuring hundreds, according to local media. The initial magnitude 6 tremor quake struck 11 kilometers or 7 miles east of the city of Kumamoto, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. It said the magnitude was 6.2, but later revised it down. Another 6.4 magnitude quake hit the same place slightly after midnight. The iconic Kumamoto Castle, designated an important cultural asset, was also badly damaged in the earthquake, with parts of its signature stone walls collapsed in the aftermath. The Kyoto News Agency said some 44,400 people had also been evacuated and more than 100 aftershocks had been recorded since the quake, which struck shortly before 9:30 p.m. local time. Thankfully, the Nuclear Regulation Authority said that there were no irregularities at 3 nuclear plants on the southern major island of Kyushu and nearby Shikoku. Coming up, the United States' annual report on human rights will only do harm to the bilateral relationship between China and the United States, according to Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lu Kang. Speaking in Beijing on Thursday, Lu made the remark in response to the U.S. State Department's 2015 report on human rights, released on Wednesday, which accuses China and several other countries of human rights abuses. Lu added that the report has been rejected and opposed by the vast majority of the international community. The report criticizes China for, amongst other things, a campaign against rights lawyers. Moving along, Microsoft Corporation has sued the U.S. government for the right to tell its customers when a federal agency is looking at their emails, the latest in a series of clashes over privacy between the technology industry and Washington. The lawsuit, filed on Thursday in federal court, argues that the government is violating the U.S. Constitution by preventing Microsoft from notifying thousands of its customers about government requests for their emails and other documents. The suit argues that the government's actions contravene the Fourth Amendment, which establishes the right for people and businesses to know if the government searches or seizes their property, as well as the First Amendment right to free speech. Microsoft's suit focuses on the storage of data on remote servers rather than locally on people's computers, which Microsoft says has provided a new opening for the government to access electronic data. The lawsuit represents the newest front in the battle between technology companies and the U.S. government over how much private businesses should assist government surveillance. Next up, a painting discovered 2 years ago in a leaky attic in the south of France is by Italian master Caravaggio and worth an estimated 120 million euros, experts said on Tuesday. The painting, entitled Judith Beheading Holofernes, lay hidden for 150 years before being discovered by a family in Toulouse who went into the eaves of their house looking for the source of a leak, according to members of the firm Eric Turquin. The family called a local auctioneer who referred them to the Paris-based firm, which has carried out tests over 2 years, including X-ray and infrared experiments. Art expert Alain Turquin said estimating the work was a challenge as comparisons were hard, but he believed the price tag 120 million euros was justified in the light of the purchase of 2 less remarkable Rembrandts by the Louvre and Amsterdam's Rijksmuseum for 160 million euros. The painting has been awarded national treasure status by the French authorities, meaning that it cannot be exported for 30 months at least, leaving more than enough time for national museums for its acquisition. And finally, had the world's largest snake just been captured in Malaysia this week? Quite possibly. Now, the nearly 8-meter-long python, which was found on a construction site in Penang, could slither its way into the record books if it manages to measure up to the record books, that is. Anyway, the snake was caught by Civil Defense Department personnel after workers from the construction site in Paya Terubung spotted it under a tree and called emergency services. Now, according to Britain's Guardian newspaper, the Guinness Book of World Records gives the honor of the longest snake ever in captivity to Medusa, also a reticulated python, who lives in the US state of Missouri. Now, Medusa was measured at 7.67 meters in the 2011 edition of the Guinness Book of World Records and still holds the title, which at one point she was at risk of losing. Medusa is said to weigh 158.8 kg, over 90 kg lighter than the Malaysian specimen. Now, before people start talking world records, the Penang python's length would have first had to have been verified by the Guinness World Records group. Now, that's going to prove impossible because, alas, the poor Penang python died during its capture. So we will never know whether or not it is indeed the world's largest and longest python. Anyway, yikes, imagine seeing one of these bad boys in your backyard. Not good news at all. Speaking of news, until next time, have a good week. See you next time.